What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, talking today about GameStop because it seems like at this point, absolutely nothing can save them. Over the course of the last couple months, there's been a lot of rumblings about the fact that GameStop was very badly in need of a buyout. Now, this is an extremely bad sign. It basically means that they were trying to sell the entire company as one big chunk. They want somebody to buy every store, every game on the shelf, and every single employee's paycheck. They want everybody to be sold as one big package. Now, the reason this is a bad sign is because it shows that they are completely desperate. This means that they're not looking for investors. In case you don't really know corporate lingo, basically, investors are when you try and find super millionaires out there who will give you a chunk of their cash for you to be able to keep your business afloat. It's something that just basically makes it where you can sort of get out of certain troubles. But at this point, they are beyond that. It looks like now, as of just the last 24 hours, GameStop has taken themselves off the market. They are no longer trying to sell themselves because it looks like nobody wanted to buy them. They don't have any value. They don't have anything that people really need. I just want to say that if right now you're watching this video and you're at a GameStop, you're an employee, put in some job applications. Get out. If you can just flat out quit, now is the time to do it. Your job will not exist, most likely in the next 30 days. GameStop is a very fascinating case in my opinion because it seemed like they were doing so much right. Towards the beginning, they really sort of rose up in a time when physical retail was at its peak. People wanted to be able to go into a store, browse stuff on shelves, and sort of just buy whatever struck their fancy. But over time, we're really shifting more and more towards a digital medium. Video games specifically, a lot of people get a big chunk of their content digitally. Even if they end up buying the physical disc itself, they end up buying downloadable content, or getting season passes, or getting extra skins. That's stuff has become such a big part of the market that GameStop can't sell. GameStop can't monetize that. GameStop really has no way to try and get that extra cash other than selling you the consoles and the games. Now, GameStop in certain ways has tried to innovate and keep up with this trend. Something they've done specifically that I thought was pretty smart at the time but really did not pay off is that they've been trying to purchase stuff, the rights to games, stuff that they themselves could then print. Like, as far as I know, I believe that this is actually a GameStop exclusive game. If you want a physical version of Katamari Damacy, which is so fantastic, you actually need to walk into a GameStop, pick it up, and grab it. This is the only way to get it. Unless, of course, you're wanting to buy it secondhand on eBay. But stuff like this, as much as it was successful, wasn't able to really stop the tide of how much money they're losing. The rough estimates is that they lost about $2 billion last year. $2 billion in profit lost. And this is after they managed to do so much to recoup that, to try and survive, to try their best to not lose as much money. Originally, GameStop was using their mountains and mountains of cash to try and diversify their income. They decided to buy a cell phone company and do stuff like t-shirt companies, things like that. They tried to basically make it where they could be more than just the video game shop. And those experiments in the short term seem to have paid off, but now the fact that they're just dumping them so hard and so fast shows that they are just in complete free fall. Now, GameStop, they were looking to try and get bought out. About a month ago, it sounded like the people who own Hot Topic were actually going to purchase them, and I do think that if that merger had gone through, it probably would have been a very successful change for GameStop. It could have been the thing that was really the life raft that gave them a chance to be rescued. Because Hot Topic has really done a smart shift over the years. Originally, when it came out sort of in the early 2000s, Hot Topic originally, they were very centered on just being the edgy people. They sold wallet chains, giant jeans that were like Jinkos, really dark clothing, makeup like a black lipstick that dudes would wear, that type of stuff. But Over time, they smartened up and realized that this niche, you could be profitable, but if you want to throw the biggest net you can and be in malls all across the world, you need to try and spread yourself out. And so they started trying to be the darker brand. They started selling band t-shirts, Twilight crap, things like that, movie t-shirts. All of that is a lot easier to sell. It's a lot easier for people to understand. And I think that it takes a lot of guesswork. I think that Hot Topic is somebody who's really good at trying to predict what's about to be cool, invest in it, and make a bunch of money. They could have tried to use that expertise to help GameStop out. I think that by far the biggest thing that's going to end up sinking GameStop at the end is that there are very many diskless consoles rumored to be launching relatively soon. Perhaps in this year we'll see 2 diskless consoles, maybe the Google console and also the new diskless Xbox. When these come out, there's absolutely no reason to put that on the store shelf of GameStop. They can't sell anything else. People are going to be buying these things new. They get about $2 profit, but the system itself isn't really doing anything major to sort of pay the rent. These things, though, are showing a very shocking trend. It's not just that people are buying these things, it's that people are okay with buying them. Within the realm of video games, people are just more and more ready to buy stuff, buy anything, and play anything they can. I also think that there's just a lot of streaming service options. I mean, look, the Project Stream is about to come out. We have PlayStation Now, where you can just stream games. There's Games Pass, where you can just download in hundreds of entire games directly onto your Xbox. These things are just monumentally chipping away at GameStop. They have no way to try and compete, which is why now they're just so utterly screwed. I do honestly believe that GameStop could have been saved as much as 3 years ago. I think that during the early PS4 and Xbox One era, when this thing first started coming out, the amount of physical sales was on the rise. People were buying multiple controllers, they were buying multiple wires. Things like that are a good profit margin. It's the games themselves where I think the really big problem starts to arise. GameStop just has no idea how to sell stuff. Part of the issue, I think, is really just the fact that they've gained such a horrible reputation. They have bad customer service, the employees kind of treat people like garbage for the most part, and they're constantly hounding you to get their magazine and try and do stuff like, hey, pre-order these next 50 billion games. GameStop also ended up spending a bunch of money on trying to get exclusive beta access of, hey, if you pre-order this game from GameStop, you'll get the limited collector's edition for free, and stuff like that. Those things ended up sort of ostracizing their content more than making it accessible. It made it where people, instead of trying to brag about getting the GameStop Collector's Edition or whatever, it was sort of a mark of shame. People hated this stuff, and it made it where now, more and more, it's just kind of led them down a dark path. They don't know how to adapt, they don't know how to change, they don't know what to do. I mean, you gotta think, right now GameStop is very, very big, but definitely too big for what they need. They have spread themselves too thin. There are too many thousands of employees in hundreds and hundreds of different spots all over the globe, and most of those locations are not making a profit. Corporate is freaking out, the employees know that the end is coming, and even just little tiny managers at this point have stopped asking if people want to pre-order stuff, because it's just the dawn of the end. It's the beginning of the closure. I just want to say that I'm not personally thrilled about this. I don't like GameStop. I do think that they are overall quite an evil organization because they're basically just the Walmart of video games, but I realize that real people are being hurt. I wish that we could have had a GameStop that wasn't quite so despicable, but they just ran themselves badly. They didn't know how to adapt, and they didn't really understand what made GameStop GameStop. So here we are, watching every single one of them get shuttered, and I guess we're just going to probably see another competitor pop up. Amazon's going to fill that place somewhat, but I think that somebody is going to try and fill that gap. Either a mom and pop shop or moving trading company, but somebody is definitely going to try and become the very next GameStop. But what do you guys think? Are you actually happy that GameStop is gone? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you work at a GameStop, seriously, my condolences. I wish you all the very best, have a great day, and do me a big favor and keep dreaming. You know what? I'm gonna go take a nice long walk, because this is actually some pretty weird news. I had a lot of really good GameStop memories, and now, well, now they're all gone. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.